finally tonight, it's barely 200 pages long, but the first book by a Nottingham writer was groundbreaking. Alan Sillitoe's Saturday Night and Sunday Morning was the story of working people in this city. It gave them a voice. Well, now more than half a century later, the book's part of a massive website project, and from today you can even follow in Sillitoe's footsteps with the launch of a mobile app that's happening right here now. Alan Sillitoe wrote himself into a list of literature greats. The places and the kind of people he knew featured strongly in his work.
We've been down here, I've been down here 28 years, and you know.
He put Nottingham and rally bikes on the map, as well as the drinking culture. Well, now these themes are being turned into a phone app where anyone can get on their bike and do a tour of Sillitoe's Nottingham.
I hope that we've taken a book and we've been able to show lots of different ways that you can imagine that book. We've taken themes, we've taken locations, we've looked at 1958 when it was published and 2012. So there's lots of different layering of that particular novel.
For the last 6 months, the Arts Council and the BBC have funded a project called The Space, where Saturday night and Sunday morning is explored to see how relevant it is today. It's the only literature venture on the site outside London. Sillitoe still causing a stir outside the capital.
I discovered Saturday Night and Sunday Morning and I couldn't believe it. I read Loneliness, a Long Distance Runner straight away, which completely changed my perception of what authority meant, what rebellion meant, and what I could do with my own life.
I picked up a book in the library. It was a collection of short stories, and there was a story called Pit Strike, and I read it, and it opened with local dialect and a profanity, and to a 13-year-old boy, wow, that was something else. And it also kind of validated what was going on around me in a mining village in Nottinghamshire.
Number one in the Sillitoe linked locations is Old Market Square, Slab Square.
Well, it's the centre of Nottingham. We thought it was a good place to start, and the history of rebellion in Market Square is unbelievable.
I feel very strongly that we're linking to these people in the past, because Alan Sillitoe was very much, for the underdog, for the downtrodden. I think one of his phrases was, "Don't let the bastards grind you down," and we feel that.
The Occupy movement moved just before we started the project, so instead we turned that on its head and we looked at "Don't let the literati grind you down," and we looked at the way that Alan Sillitoe, as a working class writer, broke through.
Rally is so significant to Sillitoe's writing and to Nottingham's industrial heritage that it was bound to feature, and they've explored the long-gone factory through the people who worked there.
Having testimonies from actual workers at Rally was really important, because we wanted to see whether Sillitoe really did capture what it was like to be a Rally worker. Now, I know he worked there and a lot of his family worked there at some point, but these people we interviewed had worked there for like 40, 50 years. So it was really important we listened to their voices.
Here are some of those retired Rally workers.
65.
Bingo and chat, all with their own tales to complement the ones Sillitoe told. As part of the Space Project, Pete Davis is here for a talk to tell his own special story.
On Christmas Day, I got a gold-coloured Rally Grand Sport, 10-speed Campag gears. My mouth dropped open, and this was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, a proper racing bike. And I thought, God, that's amazing. And do you know what I found out years later? That he'd got it basically one piece at a time, okay? He had. As the song goes, he'd actually got it one piece at a time. So, and I have to say, I rode around for years on stolen goods.
I'd get it one piece at a time, and it wouldn't cost me a dime.
The project's about the present too, and the future. Here, art students at New College Nottingham are tasked with coming up with designs for the mobile phone app.
I was going with a quote of "Don't let the grind you down."
Another student sees Sillitoe as an early punk, a rebel. She hadn't heard of Sillitoe until the design work was set.
Didn't really know that much, to be fair. I mean, I've heard of him, and I didn't really know of the novel as such. I knew of the film, I didn't know it was a novel.
The point of the project is to raise awareness, and I've enjoyed learning about it and watching the film, and sadly I haven't managed to read the book yet, but that's on my to-do list.
The app enables you to visit the locations, and when you're on location, because you're using a mobile device, you'll be able to read the text, you'll be able to look at vintage photographs, and you'll also be able to listen to contemporary Nottingham writers who are revisiting the themes that were covered in Saturday night and Sunday morning.
The students all pick up the theme of drinking and the importance of pubs as community places in Sillitoe's literature.
There was an urban legend behind the lions that they growl whenever a virgin walked past, so I decided to try and put a spin on the stone lion to make it look alive, like it's been given an X-ray and you see like the pint of beer inside its stomach, just to represent the nightlife that happens around Market Square in the pubs.
Drinking is a theme on the Space website through the words of Al Needham, who bemoans the death of all but one of the pubs he used to drink in.
My dad's side of the family, they lived on Arkwright Street in the Meadows. And every Sunday, while I had dinner with me nonna and read comics, him and my grandpa would have a few of the Queens and the Crown. I think if Arthur Seton actually was ripped from the pages in 1958 and dropped in 2012 and went into a pub, I think he'd be a bit terrified, really, because the first thing he'd see would be a bank of televisions. I mean, back in those days, it would have been a month's wages to have one tiny little television, and he'd probably think 1984 had actually happened.
Solitude was something Alan Sillitoe used to find whether going for a bike ride or fishing. Today, it's something very hard to find.
I wanted to portray the sense that is solitude possible in today's digital age with all these new technologies and inventions? Is it really possible to detach yourself from the world today when we have all these different things?
Mulletproof Poet has done YouTube Youth, and that's the idea that youth are obsessed with this kind of online communication and what does it mean.
YouTube Youth has the world in his paws, a grubby Casanova, my space or yours. Don't take kindly to the world outside, the download is mistress, a virtual bride. YouTube Youth has forgotten how to speak, types his conversations, he's a proper little geek.
The Arts Council website has been extended until March. There's a lot of content to read, and that's the message they want to pass on. It's important to read as well as embracing all the new ways of doing that.
Reading is really important. Sillitoe's father was illiterate, so it's really important people realise that literature can be a great way of escaping, a free way of escaping.
They're also raising money for a Sillitoe memorial in the centre of Nottingham. Something else for people to come to the city to see.
We want to use this literary walk as a means of generating tourism to Nottingham. Nottingham should be incredibly proud at the moment. There's more to life than London.
And here's a special book to mark the completion of Sillitoe's Nottingham Then and Now, plus the app so that you can find the places that Sillitoe wrote about. And that's it from Nottingham. See you next Monday. Bye-bye.